afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and everything amazing Propagandacaster. Me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Psych, Defender of the Fatherland, off here till 1 vs 1 on Crossroads. In the north, it's Jove, fighting for the overquest, Germany, Deutschland. In the south, it's Insanity, fighting for the Soviet Union, Socialism, Comrade Stalin, taking on the role here of the 3rd Guards Tank Corps versus Jove and the 7th Panzer Division. Also, quick apology for yesterday where the episode went up later. Apparently, just YouTube kept messing up and, didn't make things easier for me. So it took me a while before I realised after the first time I tried to get the episode up on time, or at least after time was, just deciding, you need to press extra buttons compared to before. So again, my apologies, a bit of a messy explanation. Basically, YouTube just being YouTube. It's a very short version. Slightly longer version is YouTube forgets stuff, and then YouTube at the same time changes its UI and, makes it more complicated for no logical reason. Also, big thanks to Sarah for pledging on Patreon and supporting the Propagandacast, allowing me to keep doing this day after day. And remember, you too can support the Propagandacast and be one of my company of heroes. Links in the video description. Anyways, bit, self-advertisement there. But anyways, we're off here. We got double engineers, penal troops out there for Insanity. Joe with full scanners moving westwards there, aggressively for Deutschland. They're also spreading eastwards here with his own full grenadiers. Very nice work there. Engineers heading up westwards. Sturmpaniers following it backwards. We've got 3rd Volks on the way there for Jove. Engineers moving towards the centre here. Bit more movement in the east, securing the centre victory point. So far, so quiet. Note in this case, sneaking up, secure the cut road before the rest of the points. Moving up east side here. Sandbagging up there by the road point. Standard stuff. So far, no sun engagements. Insanity again for double penal troopers. Mostly in this case, we go for a fast scout car after the initial penal trooper squad. But Insanity is focusing more on an infantry heavy build here, which I mean can still work pretty well as the Overall Command Vest. But usually, most tend to go for the scout car because the Overall Command Vest as a faction tend to struggle in dealing with that quite a bit. Folks moving up at penal troopers, the folks coming here, more moving up to support here in the east, trying to stall and slow down Insanity. Moving for the centre factor, trying to flank up behind here, and do some damage there. And there we go, going to hit the engineers. 2nd penal troopers got out there with Insanity. Will he go for the scout cars now, or will he go for more penal troopers, or even consider a sniper here versus Jove and Germany? Up close to the fortress being played out, so the penal troopers getting ever closer. Sturmpan is closing the engineers there. 2nd penal trooper squad almost done. It does look like he's going to go for a 3rd penal trooper squad here. No interest in scout cars here for Insanity. People's falling up here. No, he does go for the scout car. He does go for the scout car. Just briefly seemed like he had other plans in mind here, but the scout car was part of it, or at least became part of the plan. With the more full grenadiers on the way there for Joe, standard Oberkommando was built unless again decides to suddenly, I don't know, more full grenadiers. Strafniki focus on the Sturmpaniers and you need to retreat. Heavy damage being inflicted. Scout car out there for Insanity in just a few seconds. There we go. Sturmpaniers charging forward out in the open there. Easy picking scene for these depleted penal troopers. Insanity shows no mercy and pushes eastwards to deal with the Fulks behind cover. Could probably close the gap here and just deal with the Fulks grenadiers. In the centre, scout car ready with engineers trying to get in. There we go. Flamethrowers ready to burn through Joe's forces. Medics on the way there for Insanity. Very good. There's no doctrine yet here for Insanity though. Go with the 4 Volksgrenadiers plus the Sturmpaniers. Likely go for trucks soon, and certainly with this kind of compensation, I'm expecting a bag of headquarters. And there you go, Scout Car's going to go for it. Likely will not be able to pursue fully, of course, due to the flak emplacement guarding the entrance to the base. And there you go, quickly veers off. He will likely go straight for the car point, that way trying to deny Joe resources. Others cut a nice chunk on the map there against Insanity. Nice play there. Penal troops need to retreat after having seized this point. I mean, it's just down to Petrov and no one else. Truck on the way there for Job and the 7th Panzer Division. Troops healing and reinforcing, and a bit of scrummaging around the calf point as Joe goes for the jugular here. I imagine Insanity is either going to save up for more penal troopers, or it could be soon considering either guardsmen or shock troopers here versus Job. And certainly shock troopers have slowly become more and more part of the Soviet meta, as shock troopers in the right conditions are quite effective. There we go. Fulton is right here with the M3A1. Calf point saved from the greedy pulse of fascism. And it is the mechanized Reagan headquarters there for Joe. Bit of a surprise there. Oh, mine wipes the unit. Quite a blow here to Jove in the first 5 minutes of the match. Folks can just go down as he's yet to sort of inflict any wipes in Insanity. He's definitely going to need the looks now to have a better chance here versus Insanity and the third guard's tank core. You might be wondering, you've heard Mechanized Core, you've heard Tank Core. What's the difference? Basically, Tank Core was primarily made out of tanks with infantry, but hey, very few combined arms elements. Mechanized Core is what you sort of call more of an actual combined arms formation, closer to, say, you know, a German Panzer division, an American, or any Western tank unit division in that sense. So, little fun fact there quickly. Sturmpanzer's moving up here, laying down mines. Scout they're dealing with the full communities and whatnot, trying to sandbag up here. Mechanized rigging up. That does mean Panzerfaust's up here for Jove to help deal with the scout car if he can get close enough. Beyond that, we'll have to see, but I imagine Joe's priority will be going for the looks like to outclaim Panzer as his opponent. We'll also see if he goes for any replacement infantry now, or what he would go for. I mean, doctrinally, he could go for scavenge for the Jaegers to sort of that way compensate for some of the infantry losses suffered against Insanity already. Scout they're hammering away at the Fultz Grenadiers, and we do get the looks. Panzer 2 based reconnaissance tank. Scout rushing eastwards, trying to lay down mines. He's going to get spotted here by Insanity and his M3A1, an American Lend-Lease vehicle, by the way. Sturmpanzers need to retreat soon. But the Germans, essentially the looks of the Panzer II was not really intended as an actual combat tank. It was on a tank designed to train them on tanks, how to build them, how to make use of them. The thing is, though, of course, by the time the war began, they did not have the production capabilities to produce enough Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs, and for that matter, Panzer 38Ts, which of course were also cropped into the German Panzerwaffe, and so even Panzer IIs and Panzer Is were pressed into service at the front line. As a fun note, then of course the war went on, they had to sort of try and come up with other things to do with them as they quickly became useless, so the looks were sort of the last-ditch attempt in that sense to make something out of it. Lots of them being murdered down. Of course, the Panzer 38T sort of saw the same idea there, but it was a lot more successful with the last sort of major iteration of that one being the Hetzer, if you like to call it. Mine goes off, they're killing 2 penal troopers. Nice work there by Jove. Nice mining. The looks of Sonny Rolf's going to push back here against Insanity, who is shot on anti-tank weapons. He is going for the tank-per-tank command, but let's rush out the T-70, or could also go for the Echelon 6M. For that, we deal with Joe's mechanized menace. And you've had almost down there for Jove as well to help further contain Insanity's infantry, pushing for the eastern field point, though his own western field point is now quite open here to Insanity, so he might be banking on basically using the looks to cover the entire western flank, which is, in the current circumstances, not entirely impossible, though slightly risky. Troops are healing and forcing. Mines down here for Jove. Troops healing and enforcing. Mechanized regiment remains silent. Mines up here. Scout coming eastwards. And I can have to deal with the Scout coast. Probably also starting to expect, you know, something to deal with his looks. Since in terms of timings, unless you got a really strong dominance, your opponent will usually be able to follow up with a T7 and F6 shortly after you get out your looks. So, going for like Kevin F. Oh, he cancels it for an MD-34 more, so maybe Joe is not active now. He's thinking he can deal with it what he currently has. Our way a bold move, say that slightly by Jove. Scout cut tying down forces in the east and the west. Bit of skirmishing there as well. And skirmishing around the centre, MD-34 holding up in the squad from moving ahead. And there you go, T-Sim, the light tank out here for Insanity and the Red Army. Ready to smash the fascists apart. Looks like Nice with their closing interventions in one. Sturmpanzers dealing with the Strafniki. Looks like the ability to deal with the T-7 needs to fall back. First option chosen is Guard Mode here for Insanity, not a highly surprising choice, as getting lots of Guardsmen and maybe having more to synergize is quite well with having a lot of penal troopers. Jove here, though, committing to the Puma, less often seen, of course, not a bad choice. A well-handled Puma can be quite a threat to a allied opponent. Of course, the well-handled part is obviously the occasionally trickier part, depending on the player. But there you go, the 234-2, one of overall 4 major variations, well, you could sort of 3 variations or sub-versions of the main 234. Heavy armoured car, or the Achrad, or 8-wheeler. Back here, troops reinforcing. Puma almost done. There you go, 234-2. The Dash 3 and the Dash 4 were basically equipped either with a PaK 40 or 75mm cannon. And then sort of grouped up with the Dash 1, since the 234-2 Puma was basically being quickly phased out as the German High Command was worried it would make the reconnaissance crews a bit too bold and think they were driving a tank. Towards the 5 from the T-70, Puma going to go for it with its 50mm cannon. First shot pierces the T-70 with ease. Pumas was then not able to cover the flank here sufficiently. They've got anti-tanks looking up there, screening the retreat path of the T-70. Nice work there by Insanity, saving his T-70 from an explosive death at the hands of Jove. Mines down there. Troops healing and enforcing. Luke's being fixed up. Heading straight into that mine in a few moments. Pumas will in here from the west. Machine gun here holding up in a nice little nest, but rather exposed in some ways, so please be careful there. The Starfall's being hammered by the T-70 in the centre of the up Pumas. They're going to try and assault the machine gun. They're sending time. Oh, sad to charge off. Jove's not paying attention! Almost losing the entire Volkskrieger squad. That's quite explosive there for Jove. South Charles almost takes out the machine gun there as well. Insanity going in for a heavy assault here on Jove's central positions. To ramble them and then open up push for the curve points. Guard squad following up and pushing on here to 4 squads versus Jove's 4 as well. And they now have infantry parity, at least in terms of squad numbers. But the scout car goes down to the Puma. The 234-2 pierces the armor of the scout car easily and explodes the entire thing. Luke says one taken out here, but the anti-tank Puma's mine goes off there and halts Insanity's final push for the curve point. Buying Jove some much needed respite to regroup, reorganize, and make for another fresh attack against the Russians. The Soviets. The T-70 being fixed up with the engineers. Good fast work there by Insanity and the 3rd Guards Tank Corps. Looks is going to need repairs. We have repair parties up there for Joe. That certainly frees up a lot of management. And there you go, machine gun there. Expiring. Note the way it's so close to the point. You can actually show Insanity where it is. You actually need to put it a bit more further away. In this case, allowing Insanity to much more easily flank the MG-34 of this Guardsman. And that is like, could very likely end up as a wipe here against Joe's machine gun, which would be quite unpleasant for Joe, and of course quite pleasant for Insanity. In this case, fortune does favour Joe just a bit, and the machine gun crew makes it back home for now. Well, the machine gunner makes it back home. The rest of the crew obviously are not going to make it back home ever. Luke's being fixed up. Hard work there. Fulton has launched a counterattack into obviously disrupt his opponent's fuel supply. Comparatively, Insanity's not really been focusing hard on disrupting Joe's fuel. I mean, there's not so many pushes there for the fuel point in the west. Definitely see a bit of an oversight there by Insanity, and certainly could give Jove a bit more to work with in the longer run. Should have to see what it's out with. Moving westwards there. Veterans 1, very nice. Sehr good. Fulton is quickly find themselves overwhelmed and outnumbered, flanked on both sides. Not a good attack here, honestly, by Joe. Should have had some light vehicle support for them or a machine gun. Instead, finds his men, well, basically being picked off one by one and destroyed in detail there by Insanity. So that actually ended up being a bit of a kind of pointless engagement, since while he's got some kills in, they got no wipes, and more importantly, he gained no ground. Try on the way there for Joe. That's going to be the Scout Panzer headquarters. Pumas are going to flank the MB-34 plus, also threatening the Pumas' flank. Looks as good to go once more for Joe, so he needs to put some pressure there hard on Insanity Schnell. Still no tech up there for Insanity, and as Joe's going to be moving ahead there for the Scout Panzer headquarters. T-7 going here for the looks. Machine is able to cover up as well here. Puma Troopers ensuring here they has to move through the base. We'll go here for the T-7, which, well, gives Insanity more time, but also means he can easily sort of see where it's coming from the front. Whereas with Reds could flank through here, he could get behind the T-7 and threaten the rear of it. So that anti-tank squad actually fulfills several purposes here for Insanity. So nicely done there. Puma's not being hammered by the looks. Puma moving ahead here, closing in eventually too. Troops reinforcing. He's going to get that spare punch to co-op soon. Insanity's really just locking down a lot of the map here against Jove at the moment. Puma there close to eventually too, but it's also close to exploding. And there we go. Insanity then besides hitting the car punch, hitting the fuel point, and he's laying down flare wire trip mines. Puma's in repairs, troops in reinforcing. Insanity is yet to take up his flooding resources. You definitely, I think, prioritise getting that take up soon. The faster they've been pushing up medium armour here versus Jove, the better. And obviously, in this case, he wants the T-35, since the T-34-16 can struggle somewhat with the Puma. In particular, in the hands of a skilled player who knows how to use the range of the Puma more efficiently against the T-34-76. Fulton versus penal troopers there. Now he goes to the battle group headquarters. Could this mean that Joe is planning for special operations in the Command Panther or Elite Armored and the Sturmtiger? So not a strategy we see a lot of recently, I would say for good reason. But I guess that's where Jove is headed. I'm a bit dismayed. I guess we haven't seen a lot of it lately, so I guess it's kinda okay, but it's certainly not something I would recommend or condone. Oh, mine goes off there, causing heavy grief there to Joe's infantry. Time launching an assault, and he is actually taking upwards. He's going from mechanized down the company. Joe's tilting time from the Command Panther. At the current pace, roughly 5 minutes, whereas Insanity is much closer to the T-35, which is going to give this Puma quite a headache. So, I mean, this play there is not necessarily what I've been recommending for Joe. I mean, it does get access to the assault grenades, which can be used for sort of breaking up some of Insanity's attacks and defenses, and of course maybe occasionally get a wipe. Now some mobiles land within for the assault rifles, I think would also be helpful there for Joe. I'll like T-35 in final there for Insanity, and the third guard's tank called Puma going there for him, gaining eventually too, so he's going to go for the aim shot. There we go, jamming the turret ring there with the T-70. He's moving up. Puma misses, but shouldn't be missing much more. Misses again though, come on Heinz, hit it! It's a T-70. Not bloody Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyways, pop goes the weasel, Puma falls back there. Of course, that frees up some room there for Jove. Of course, once the T-35 so quickly fills up that gap, it's not going to free as much. The T-30-45 is not quite as fast, you know. As the T-70, of course, he can still move his infantry up possibly a bit more freely, but still, that T-30-45 is going to be a problem for Joe until he can get out that Command Panther. Hopefully, he takes up afterwards. Puma is murdering the penal troopers. With its main gun and coaxial machine gun, follows there, but mainly for the full support was the penal troopers. And there you go, T-35 inbound by Insanity. Going to try and escape with the Puma. Struggling a bit here, folks, coming up as well. And we've got marked vehicle on the Puma. It's being cornered like a rat, and down it goes. Insanity shows no mercy, and that leaves Jove in an incredibly precarious position, because right now, Jove does not have a single anti-tank weapon. I mean, he can try and panzer-fast it to death, but that's going to be long and very expensive, and not very cost efficient. So he's going to have to go for the kidnap as one who's got the manpower, which he's open struggling a bit with here. And at least one to just somehow convince Insanity to back off for long enough to get a bloody Command Panther out. Losses inflicted in the east. Same doesn't help, he's losing resources here and there, which means A, his opponent's going to be able to just flood the field with more tanks faster than Joe can then get out the Command Panther. I mean, he's got the command points needed for it now, but he's still short by about, well, roughly 25 fuel and a bunch of manpower. Though, of course, once he gets the Command Panther out, Insanity is going to be in for a bit of a, you know, more bumpy ride. Pop, we hear mine go, and that is the looks, meaning Insanity has another easy piece of prey there. And that looks is going to hit a second mine laid down by Insanity, taking it down, meaning Jove has now exactly no vehicles of any kind here. This is Insanity, that's the T-35. He is not far off from the Command Panther, but until then, he's very much at the mercy of Insanity. And he can only pray again that Insanity does not quite have a clear extent of how exposed Jove is. More mines there, good work. Good mining is a good skill. Grenade assault in, of course, they should. Well, actually has scavenge, so technically it could also give Insanity the possible idea that his opponent's gone for scavenge, but he's saying no Jaegers, and most people who go for that doctrine will go for Jaegers. Comparatively, Jove hasn't been going for that, so there's a good possibility that Insanity's thinking Spec Ops there. Though, theoretically, there's the possibility, and he is thinking he might be up against Jaeger, or Scavenge now, and Jaegers. It just seems a tad unlikely. Instead, Yama appears to answer as the penal tubers, pushing them away. Grenade assault here again. He's almost there. He's got the fuel. He just needs a bit more manpower. He can strike back at Insanity properly. Who's going for the HD5? Insanity in this regard has definitely then made the correct reading on the situation. He knows what's coming. He's seen no armor. He's seen nothing else besides the two vehicles. He's seen assault grenades. Usually a good indicator of Command Panthers, even though they're a bit rare nowadays. These Command Panther stalls. And there you go. Marked vehicle from the Command Panther. Coordinated fire, though it's really just coordinated fire with itself. Which sounds a bit dirty when you put it like that. So, Jürgen, what will you be doing tonight? Ah, you know, I'll be coordinating a bit of fire this myself. Oh, god damn it, Jürgen. Still, that pushed the T-35 a bit away. They gave Jove some breathing space. HD5 halfway down there for Insanity. Guardsmen suppressed here by the MD-34. Closing in on Vet 72. Troops standing still. Machine, Volkswagen car roster. Pump, there's a machine car here as well. Very good. But Jove definitely needs to get a bit more aggressive here versus Insanity. Needs to put the jackboot down and show them who's in charge. Who's the commandant. But there you go. HD5 here for Insanity. T-35 hanging back. Penal troopers the Panther there. Machine guns laying down a hailstorm of fire. The penal troopers cannot hope to match in a million years. HD5 then engaging the Command Panther. Direct hits on both. Easy shots penetrating on both sides. Joe needs to repair up his Command Panther. Needs to try and outmaneuver the HD5. Otherwise he's not going to get much further. And now he probably needs to consider trying to take up some, gain the fuel that is, to then push for medium armor to back up this Command Panther. So obviously the Command Panther works a lot better when there's other tanks to command. Instantly caught there by the T-35 laying down an explosive storm of fire that routs Joe's forces. And the center troops exposed to heavy fire there in the east. Bit of quiet there, but he should be pushing with the fuel pawn there. In the western Santi just seems to be waiting there. He's hoping there's some sort of opening he can exploit. He's just forgotten about them. Signpost there. Went off. And we got radio silence from Jove here. The current timing of it makes me slightly think it's an accident, or maybe there's some deeper gameplay plan here from Jove. Some element I have not considered. Down and push back there into the armor piercing rounds. Nice work, and we got there. We go. Fox guns flanking up, hitting on mine, but still riding the guardsman. Push up here. Command Panther needs to intercede in the far west to stop Insanity from ground the western fuel pump to watch more armor out. Command Panther move, and the something got wiped out there. I think sounds like it. Maybe not. Oh, wait, Command Panther move, machine there down. Command Panther moves in, engaging here. The T-35, HD5 to the scene as well. And we got marked vehicle here. It's Insanity trying to turn this over to Joe. Can he do it? There go. Coordinated fire on the T-35 again. T-35 gaining veteran to increase rate of fire. That's definitely nasty for any armor or infantry for that matter. Eastern fuel being secured here. We got the T-35. 76 moving in here to stop Joe from nabbing that one. McKenna for finally arriving here for Joe. Machine gun being crewed as well. Fult's going to be just walked though. Whacked out here by the T-Fed 476. Penalty was hitting a mine as they go for the eastern fuel point. A lot of action going on. McKenna almost done. Command Panther taking another hit. The situation is starting to deteriorate ahead for Joe. A bit faster and faster here. Versus Insanity. His looks Puma play sadly did not quite, I think, have the intended consequences that Joe had hoped for. As it is sadly not slowed down Insanity a lot. Could maybe work on another map, but again on Crossroads, the key thing to keep in mind is there are more resources on the map overall, meaning you actually need to control it much more aggressively to make certain things work. But of course, if you do control it aggressively, you can also get away with much dirtier and nastier things, because again, you're just going to overall get a lot more fuel. So we'll have to see what ends up with here. But right now, Jove is in a bit of a tricky position. And this is Jove, of course, he is a veteran, experienced player, so he has definitely a chance to return from it, but for any other player, probably say this is looking really bad. Flares off here from Jove. More guards been out there for Insanity to help further slow down Jove's infantry and armor. In this case, flares over the cemetery, or at least south of the cemetery, to get an idea how Insanity's defenses are looking. Machine carrying the center area. Command Panther fixed up there for Jove and the 7th Panzer Division. Need to get that one moving. T-Fed coming in like Kevin ready to open up. There you go. 88mm rocket piercing the T-Fed 5's armor. H5 moving up, possibly expecting the Panther to move across in, maybe hope to snipe it a bit. Yup. Flanks the Puma, or the Panther, and we got a looks on the way there for Joe to deal with infantry, though I would say with all the armor that Insanity is bringing into the field, I think a Puma might actually be the better choice to support the Command Panther around the looks. Right now, Command Panther taking heavy damage here from the T-Fed, the T-Fed 46 will certainly not help with that. But Kenmo's doing when it can be sending a lot of damage there. T-Fed 46 is going to probably try and ram the Panther with it. Try and prevent it from escaping, didn't even take it out here. T-Fed pushing through the cemetery. Command Panther is trying to escape from distance here. Almost got his shot bounced. H5 hanging back. Can he take it out? Almost got the T-Fed 476. He's close, but he's trying the Command Panther as well. Looks is almost done there for Joe. Machine being outmaneuvered. Kevin being forced away as well here. T-Fed 476 up north, taking out. Need to fix up the Puma Schnell. A Panther Schnell. Get it back here for repairs. Looks is almost down there for Joe. 149 versus 456. Fox was dealing with the penalty, was up close there. Troops healing, reinforcing. Command Panther being pushed out here by Jove. He's feeling the pressure, it seems. The heat is on. Guards from being hammered here. Looks going up and straight into a mine there. Closing in on Bethany 3 there for the T-Fed 5 for Insanity. And radio silence again for Job. He's really trying to maintain some sort of, say, levels of price that versus his opponent to somehow get through here. Which is not a bad idea. I mean, a big push into the east might probably be his best bet rather than trying to constantly attack back into the west to get Insanity. But it seems like what Job is currently either obsessed with or at least thinking hard about. Which of course makes it a bit easier for Insanity to defend against it. Looks Panther being fixed up. T for the 455 them turned away here for Insanity. MB for the front top machine Kevin also being pushed back. 118, 115 versus 456. Jove is definitely no quitter, but the situation is not looking encouraging. You got the T-35 number 2 out there for Insanity. Looks almost good to go. Machine gun versus the T-35 close here. Slowly approaching the ace level on that one. Panther heading westwards. There you go. McKenna will take heavy here from the Command Panther and McKenna Alpha. Main gun out on the T-45, pushing it back, but Jove is certainly risking a lot here. There we go, Vetch doing the H-5 as well. Need to be careful, there's a lot of mines that Dude's been laying down. And routed here, need to pull back the Command Panther before it's too late. Shot missing on the Command Panther, pinching in trouble. Decent thing to pop a section, didn't quite work out here. Command Panther's very low on health, Gasman on the flank. Panther bouncing a shot there from the T-45. Gasman could take it out with anti-tank rifles. T-45 misses the Command Panther. Close, halfway to eventually 3 Command Panther escapes. Close one there for Jove, very close. 52 points left, victory points are constantly ticking down here against Jove. Academy, if they almost got the HD-5 tank destroyer. DP light machine gun dropped, 40 points left for Jove. Luke's being fixed up again. Command Panther in dire repairs. I'm not entirely sure what's keeping it together at this stage. It might be, just stale sauerkraut and faith in the fatherland, more than any actual sort of engineering. 25 points left. 22. Radio songs again here from Jove. 19, 16, 13. Insanity's back at base, having taken quite some casualties, and is now licking his wounds, preparing them for the next bit. I mean, he's got plenty of time to give up, so in that regard, Insanity's not exactly in a rush here versus Jove, so he just takes it more cool and easy. He can probably deliver some good damage. He's just gets completely bonkers and just tries to rush down Joe when he's not ready for it. Just tries to finish the match faster. He could risk making some bad short-term decisions that end up favoring Jove massively. So far, he's keeping his head cool there. Command Panther could be forced into the fight here before it's fully repaired. Here to deal with the T-35s. See how this one close to the ace level. Still, Jove has managed to stop the bleed at 4 victory points. That's damn close. He does seem to be making something resembling a comeback, but his inability to bring up more armor to back up his Command Panther still stands out as a bit of a problem, and at least a bit of a challenge, to put it very mildly. Western point being seized. T-45 moving out there. Got on centre, little Kevin a nice hit. Looks compelling carrying power for the little Kidnapper. Pinned down on the Western victory point. Doom Pioneers moving out. Command Panther's going to go for the T-45 lance. Nice hit. The coordinated fire. If he can get to Betty Philip, it's going to be quite helpful there for the Command Panther. So if you're shooting faster, move faster. There you go. Another hit. T-45. 85 down there to half health. Mark vehicle on the Command Panther from Insanity, and there you go. Runs out victory points. GG. Game over. In the end, a loss there for Jove. His strategy there again. We sort of to the extent to see why it's sort of been, dropped off. It's mostly countered by now, so I think it requires a bit more to make it work. And certainly in this case, Joe was not quite able to make it work. I also think in part it's just the map, which again really just makes these kind of stall strategies a lot harder to pull off, because it's much harder to deny your opponent the resources to actually get the fuel he needs to get out. The tanks needs to swarm you, and that's what I think the issue there. I think Joe should have just gone for the Shroud Punter's Quarter as soon as possible, got an up Panzer Force, putting pressure on Insanity that way, and then maybe stall for something bigger. I think in this case, just stalling for the Command Panther did, obviously not work out. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it, tell a friend, tell a family, but don't tell enemies. And this is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you for watching. You're all a wonderful audience. Hope you'll see you tomorrow again for a nice episode. Bye.